السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. سنبدأ اليوم جلستنا مع الأستاذ الشيخ الدكتور محمد طاهر القادري، وهو سيتحدث عن المنهجية الإسلامية المبتكرة في مكافحة التطرف، والتي نشرها سنة 2017 وأعلن عنها في مقر البرلمان البريطاني، وعن جهوده في مكافحة التطرف والإرهاب من خلال البرامج التعليمية والتدريسية وجهود مؤسسة منهج القرآن الدولية. فليتفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Respectable President of this session, honorable guests and scholars and representatives of the Muslim world. First of all, after thanking Almighty Allah, I would like to congratulate the OIC and Jamia Naif al-Arabiyya lil-Ulum al-Amniyya and Markaz Sawt al-Hikmah on organizing this international conference on the subject of promoting the peace and countering extremist and terrorist ideologies and their activities. At this moment, I think the Honorable King Salman bin Abdul Aziz and the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and the government of Saudi Arabia and all governments of the Muslim world deserve congratulations that they have rightly concentrated and focused on this particular subject. That is the need of our time. Terrorism or violent extremism is a serious global problem, not only causing much death and sufferings, but also destabilizing the societies, and it is disrupting the peaceful coexistence in the whole world. Before tackling the violent extremism, one must be able to first understand the underlying reasons, and their motives that give birth to the mindset of the terrorists. The slides which you must be watching here, they just reflect activities of Minhaj-ul-Quran International on this subject, or some of my humble efforts all over the world. These are not directly connected my words. You can just watch some of the glimpse, whatever is happening through the efforts of MQI, Minhaj-ul-Quran International. So we must understand what are the reasons, what are the concerns which give birth to a specific mindset of terrorism. To me, without such an understanding, all attempts to tackle the problem would be futile. One can sum up the causes generated by for terrorism. Some causes are related to ideological factors, whereas some are related to accessibility factors. The accessibility factors which generate and develop the mindset of terrorists and violent extremists, these are like holding political grievances, feelings of isolation from society, feeling marginalized, and along with criminal and personality traits and socio-economic reasons, all these accessibility factors, putting them together, without, but we have to keep in our mind, however, without an ideological motivation, these accessibility factors alone can never manifest as terrorism. This is definitely a combination of two factors, two kinds of factors. As far as the accessibility factors are concerned, these are to be addressed by the states, by the governments, by the societies, their socio, legal and political structures. And as far as the ideological aspects are concerned, these are to be addressed by the scholars, by the researchers, by institutions, through training, through education, in order to counter the ideological and theological drivers of terrorism. There are a number of ideological factors and themes and concerns and narratives promoted by the terrorists to recruit the members from the youth and from common masses to their cause in order to justify, legalize and legitimate their barbarism, their acts of violence and their acts of terrorism, acts of rebellion and terrorism. Out of some of these ideological factors are the concept of jihad, concept of Darul-Islam and Darul-Harb, and wrong application of these terms on Muslim and non-Muslim lands. Then concept of Khilafah, that it is mandatory on the Muslim youth and Muslim people to fight for establishing a Khalifa globally or regionally. Then the concept that we are having a responsibility to safeguard the rights of the Muslim Ummah against the global powers who are conceived or perceived to be the aggressors. Then again the concern that enforcement of Sharia order on the Muslim countries is our responsibility. So they fight for that. And again fighting against the impious Muslim governments because of their faults or defaults, and for the enforcement of Islamic, social and political and legal order. So this is the next factor. So my humble submission would be that countering terrorism, violent terrorism and extremism, and it is necessary. It is necessary. But it is more effective to prevent it at the level of its origin and emergence. Violent extremism and terrorism does not come into existence all of a sudden. It does not emerge out of nothing. It does not appear in a vacuum. It develops through stages and takes a long time till it is converted in a proper terrorist mindset. And then, after having that mindset, somebody is able to hold the arms in his hand and start killing of innocent mankind. This mindset starts from narrow-mindedness. This is the first stage. Narrow-mindedness in understanding the Islamic concepts, in appreciating Islamic injunctions, in wrongly appreciating its implication and application with narrow-mindedness. If this narrow-mindedness or the first stage is not properly addressed, and this is to be addressed through education, here education gets directly relevant, indispensably relevant at this stage. Through training, through education, through spreading awareness, we can only de-radicalize the minds, or we can only stop the youth from being de-radicalized. Through inculcating the concepts of Islam in their minds, and the concepts of Islam which are needed to be inculcated in their minds at this stage are the concepts of openness, tawassu, inclusiveness, flexibility, accommodation, inclusiveness, intra-faith and intra-school dialogue and harmony, and by rebuttal of the attitude of expulsion, takfir. Everybody who does not agree to me is a kafir. He is to be expelled from the ambit of Islam. So this attitude is to be corrected. This way of thinking is to be stopped at this level, but not in a hard way, by inculcating the Islamic educational, intellectual, philosophical, legal, juristic and theological expansive ideas and inculcating them into their minds and understandings. If these thoughts are not addressed at this stage, then these thoughts leads them towards extremism. This is the place where extremism emerges as a process. And this extremism leads the people, if not addressed and stopped, at a proper time. I am emphasizing on the proper time, not addressed, then finally it leads to terrorism, violent extremism. States, most of the states and societies have been and are tackling it at its last stage, as it happened in Pakistan, as it happened in many parts of the countries, Afghanistan, the Arab world, no need to mention many names. As we, as the Muslim Ummah, as the states, have been tackling it at the last stage through counter-terrorism. So this is too late. At this stage, one can only prevent some people from committing the acts of killing. But it is very difficult to change their mindset and to change their vision. The extremist vision, which took a long time in their life to develop, keeps on the same track. Even through counter-terrorism activities, we suppress them, but they will play a game of hide and seek. They can disappear for a time, and they will reappear at another time. They will change their location, and they will again reappear from another place. They will again reconsolidate, and according to the favorable socio-economic circumstances, whenever they emerge, so they will keep on appearing and reappearing, emerging and re-emerging. This is the phenomenon which Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mentioned at many times, quoted by Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal and many other A'immah. No need to mention the details. All these details I have mentioned in my books. Jihad, I brought for the honorable participants of the OIC. Jihad, Perception and Reality. The second book is on rebellion and terrorism. And the third is on the Islam, on the security of the non-Muslims. And of course the fatwa, Irhab wa Fitnatul Khawarij in Arabic. I brought some of the copies for honorable participants. Holy Prophet ﷺ said, Kullama kharaja minhum qarnun qutiya. Kullama kharaja minhum qat'un qutiya. He was mentioning the Kharijite ideology. and process of appearing and reappearing, process of emerging and re-emerging from time to time, from place to place. He said, كُلَّمَا خَرَجَ مِنْهُمْ قَرْنٌ قُطِعَ حَتَّى عَدَّهَا زِيَادَةً عَلَى عَشَرَةِ مَرَّاتٍ كُلَّمَا خَرَجَ مِنْهُمْ قَرْنٌ قُطِعَ حَتَّى يَخْرُجُ الدَّجَّالُ فِي بَقِيَّةٍ. Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As reported it. And in second tradition of Holy Prophet said, كُلَّمَا خَرَجَ قَرْنٌ قُطِعَ أَكْثَرَ مِنْ 20 مَرَّةٍ حَتَّى يَخْرُجَ فِي إِرَادِهِمْ الدَّجَّالِ. Every time a generation of the terrorists, the Kharijites, appear, they will be cut down. Again they will appear, they will be cut down. They will appear it again, they will keep on emerging and re-emerging from time to time. Holy Prophet ﷺ mentioned it for 20 times. They will be cut down, but they will keep on process of reappearing and re-emerging till Antichrist will appear. So this would be the process of that mindset. Instead of our younger generation reach this level, they should be addressed in a very nice educational way at the original basic level. What we need is prevention at the first level when the seeds are being sown in the minds of the youth. And this work can be done through an extensive and all-comprehensive process of educating and training. What we are doing as very, very humble, tiny and small, we have done the efforts towards saving the mankind, towards saving the Muslim generations, towards saving the Muslim Ummah ideologically, philosophically, theologically at this specific front. As Minhaj-ul-Quran International, we can't address the accessibility factors. We are addressing, as Minhaj-ul-Quran International, the ideological factors, the ideological and theological and wrong juristic drivers which convert their minds into a terrorist and provides them arms to fight with and leads them to a stage of becoming a Kharijite of our time. This is what Allama ibn Taymiyyah has stated. This is what Hafiz ibn Hajar Asqalani has stated. This is what Shahristani has stated. I have mentioned hundreds of these references in my book, Fitnatul Khawarij, Al-Irhab wa Fitnatul Khawarij, and the Fatwa on Terrorism. Minhaj-ul-Quran organization, which I started as a humble work in 1981, now is working in more than 90 countries all over the world. There are dozens of aspects of its work, dozens. But today I am focusing on only one with reference to the subject, and that is the efforts on peace, promotion of peace, and counter-terrorism. One program is on children, on the name of eager star seekers all over the world. Minhaj-ul-Quran Women League are taking care of all these peace and counter-terror activities to create a peaceful generation. Second work is Al-Hidayah for the youth, from teenagers. 3 days camps in universities, where participants start from 500 to 2,000 residential camps. They are de-radicalized or provided a mindset of the balance of moderation. Third are regular camps. Fourth, for the common people, where 12,000 to 14,000 people, the younger people in England, Europe, America, they participate and we give the message of peace and counter-terrorism. Fourth is PEP, Peace Education Program. Specific curriculum for students and youth, for teachers and preachers from distant sectors of the society. Then established the Minhaj colleges and schools, 700 institutions, emphasizing on promotion of education on peace and counter-terrorism. In the university, offering the masters, MPhils, PhDs on peace and counter-terrorism. Then our Minhaj Institute of Peace in Britain, doing process of de-radicalizing the youth. Then interfaith conferences, the Minhaj publications, at least 50 publications from my authorship on just peace and counter-terrorism. Then specialist classes of Quran, dealing with the verses of jihad, of the qital, of Surah Tawbah, of Surah Al-Fal. then specialist programs on the Hadith Seerah, as Muhammad the Peacemaker, as Muhammad the Merciful, as Muhammad Peace, Islam, Peace and Compassion, on human rights, rights of Muslims and non-Muslims, security of non-Muslims, all these things. Then specialist Seerah program, dealing with the warfare of Holy Prophet, 10 years Medinan period, Holy Prophet's strategy of war, preemptive strategy, protective strategy, repulsive strategy, retributive strategy, addressing all those allegations and criticisms which are done by the critics on the seerah of Holy Prophet and which are wrongly inferred by the extremists and start jihad. We address those aspects. Then special contemporary issues of integration, citizenship, religious pluralism, peaceful coexistence, cohesion, all these subjects, poverty alleviation. So we are trying to work by establishing the institutions, the schools, the colleges, the universities, the publications, the workshops, and the seminars, and classes and interfaith visits in order to inculcate a vision of, broader vision of Islam, which may provide the minds based on moderation, on peace, on kindness, on love, on non-violence, on interfaith and intrafaith, so that they may know that Islam is not for the Muslims, it is for the whole of mankind. And Prophet Muhammad was not raised only for the Arabs, only for the Muslim non-Arab. No, Prophet Muhammad was raised for the whole of mankind in order to provide them with mercy, with kindness, with moderation, with modernity, and with love and with peace. So this is the main character, face of Islam, and these values should be promoted right from the beginning till the end, individually, collectively, institutionally, and internationally. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the one who wrote 550 books, he needs 550 hours to talk about this issue. الأستاذ الشيخ طاهر القادري ركز على أهمية البحث عن جذور الإرهاب، الدوافع الأيديولوجية، وأشار إلى دراسة مفهوم الجهاد ودراسة مفهوم دار الإسلام ودار الكفر ومفهوم الخلافة والتكفير وهذه الأشياء. وقال أن الخوارج ظهروا وسيظهرون إلى يوم القيامة مرات ومرات، فكما أشار إليه الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. فإذا لا نستطيع أن نغير عقليات الشباب، إذا لا نستطيع أن نغرس مفهوم التسامح والتعايش في نفوس المسلمين، فلا يمكن لنا أن نكافح هذه الظاهرة المرضية بالوسائل الأمنية والوسائل العسكرية والوسائل السياسية. فهو في كلمته ركز على الجانب الإيديولوجي، على الجانب الفكري، على الجذور الفكرية لهذا المرض. وهو له دور كبير في سلب الأخذ المشروعية الدينية من هذه الجماعات، خصوصا في شبه القارة الهندية وفي الدول الغربية، في أوروبا، في كندا، وجزاه الله خيرا.